Hello everybody, and welcome to another video. It is the start of December, the very start. It's December 1st, and as you can see behind me here, already a little bit of snow on the ground. And yesterday it went from 10 degrees in the morning to minus 10 at night. Oh, what a difference, I'll tell you. My first few lessons were great, and by the time I finished off my last lesson at 6:30 last night, everybody was just shivering. And a lot of changes that I make this time of year. I usually come inside and kind of go over some of the training in the house so we don't have to be shivering outside. And my biggest concern this time of year is the dog's safety. My dog's safety, my client's dog's safety, because it is super cold out and a dog can't say I'm too cold, it's time to go in. And as you can see, we're all ready for the cold weather. We've got all the jackets out here, even Ollie's little down jacket, some penny fur floating by. So we are all set there, and I have a nice cup of coffee going for today's video since we're hanging out in the house because it's too cold. You know I like to do my videos out on the walk, but not today, too cold. Got some Christmas lights up, and we've even got the Tree Farm candle going so that the room smells lovely. Also, I love to be warm. I'm like a lizard on a rock, so I've got a heating pad that sits out for the winter that I can warm up and sit on while I'm answering emails or editing this video in a few minutes. And today I wanted to talk a little bit about routine, because routine is really the key to, having a well-trained dog, but a dog that also just sort of understands what is expected of it in your home. And dogs thrive on routine and having some rules and some boundaries and things like that. That's what they're going to thrive on. They do well when they know what to expect. And I think many of us are like that too. Coffee break. That is a good cup of joe. Now, when I said talk about routine, I don't necessarily mean that every single day has to be the same. Like you've got to get up at the same time, you've got to walk your dog at the same time. One thing that I do find is beneficial to do as much as you can at the same time every day is a feeding schedule. So we feed the dogs at the same time every morning as much as we can manage depending on the day, but my wife and I are pretty routine on getting up at the same time. So we feed them at the same time, and I've set our dinner time to be in between appointments so that through the week I can still feed the dogs at the same time. But outside of that, the way that I work so that I can get a routine with the dogs that works, that's flexible and all of that kind of stuff, is I use Google Calendar, and I like to put things in blocks. So I'm a big spreadsheet guy. Like all of my business stuff is done on a spreadsheet, and I love spreadsheets because they're little blocks. And I really loved playing with Lego when I was a kid too, because they're blocks. And I love things in blocks because then, like when I set stuff up in, what I'll do is I'll put a little template here from Google Calendar just to show you kind of what I mean. So I set things up in blocks. Like I set up, when I feed the dogs, I give myself 30 minutes to take the dogs out in the evening and prepare their food and feed them and all that kind of stuff, even though it doesn't take quite 30 minutes, but I just block off 30 minutes on my calendar. I take the dogs out at least 3 times a day into the yard for about 30 minutes each time. So I put these little blocks on the calendar so that I know when I'm going to take them out. I can sort of plan my day. And I plan an hour block in the morning where I take the dogs for a nice walk. So I like to put things in blocks. Also, once a week, there's a 30-minute block, although it, again, doesn't take me 30 minutes. There's a 30-minute little block for grooming, like doing the dog's nails and that kind of stuff. I even have a monthly little reminder on my calendar, a little block that says it's time for the dog's flea and tick, which it is today since it's December 1st. I really like to put things into blocks. Now, we just got back from a trip to Tennessee. We were down in Nashville, Tennessee for a week. As if you've followed this channel for a while and watched my videos, you know that we love to travel with our dogs. We love doing road trips, and we've got a little camper van that has been customized so that it's even easier to travel with our dogs. And I'll have a little clip here running of some of the stuff that we did. Actually, I'll probably just make it full screen, and we can watch that, and I'll just be a voiceover. Probably better for you. So we went to Nashville for a whole week, and it was wonderful. It was the last week in November, and while it was about 0 here, it was about 17, 18 degrees on some of the days down there. I was in shorts. It was lovely. And that's why we go down this time of year, is to sort of grab that last little bit of nice weather down in Nashville. And when we're traveling, of course, things are not as routine. We're doing different things. But again, since I have everything sort of set up in blocks, I can move the blocks around on the calendar so that maybe the walk isn't at the same time every day, which is fine, but I make sure I have that 1 hour block on the calendar so that we can get the dogs out for a walk. Now, typically when we're traveling, Chris and I are traveling to do some sightseeing, and typically that's what we're doing, is taking the dogs out. So usually the dog walk is sort of enrolled into the daily events of sightseeing. But I like kind of staging everything in blocks. That way I keep a routine in the day in terms of I make sure I get everything done that the dogs need, but I can move those blocks around in the day depending on when I have time, like what the best time is for me to walk. So like, to give you an example, in the middle of summer, June, July, and August, it is so hot now that I walk the dogs first thing in the morning. So I might even be out as early as 6:30 or 7, depending on how hot it's going to be that day. So I just adjust that in the summer, that little 1 hour walking block is first thing in the morning. This time of the year, I just got back from my walk and it's now around 11. So I took the dogs for a walk at 10 today, because that's when it warmed up enough that it was more comfortable for both the dogs and myself to be out there. So again, I just move these little blocks around, and depending on the season, the time of year, what I'm dealing with, I can adjust my schedule. But the dogs know they're going to get an hour walk every day. They're going to get several 30-minute blocks out into the backyard to run and play. And I can just adjust all of this stuff through the week so that it works better each day depending on the day. But again, it's still part of the routine, and they know that they're going to get that 1 hour walk. They're going to get that time out in the yard. They know when they expect to be fed each day. So that just sort of helps me move things around while still ensuring that I get everything I need done for the dogs. Now, I also run my whole life like this. I've got little blocks for like guitar practice, for doing the housework. So I like to plan my week. I'm a meticulous planner, to say the least. And the blocks just help me, because that way I know every week I have a 90-minute block where I vacuum and clean the house. And maybe I don't have time to do it on a Monday, which is normally when I do it. So I shift it over to Tuesday. But kind of having these blocks on my calendar really helps me to organize my week. And especially when you have dogs and you want some sort of routine and structure, that's how I get it done, by kind of just making everything into these little 30-minute or 1 hour or 2 hour blocks of time, so that I have it laid out in the week. And if it doesn't, as I come into that week, if things have changed and the plan doesn't quite work, that's fine. I still know though that I need those blocks of time set aside, and I just move them around on the calendar. So hopefully that gives you a little bit of guidance as to, like, you don't have to be super rigid on a lot of stuff with your dog. Like, you don't have to walk your dog at the exact same time every day. You can shift that stuff around. That's fine. But it's nice to have some sort of routine each day so your dog knows what to expect. And it also helps you to make sure that you're getting all of your dog's needs fulfilled every day and that they're happy and healthy. All right. Well, that's it for this video. Just a little bit of advice on how I keep my day routine while still leaving some flexibility to move things around so that I can adjust for, what life throws at me every day. I will probably do another video this month just to say happy holidays as we come into the end of December. And then I'll produce another video in January for you guys. I'll be closed for the month of February this year, so I may or may not do a video for you, and then I reopen again in March, and I'm already booking into March. Can you believe it? It's December 1st, and I already have a number of clients booked to begin training in March. Wow, it just never ends, and that's a good thing, but the last couple of years has been quite overwhelming, and it's a bit frustrating for me when a client reaches out right now, and I have to tell them, listen, I'm booked until March. And I can only imagine the look on their face on the other end of the phone call when I say that. But it is what it is. I'm the only guy here at this business. It's just me all by myself, so I can only take on so many clients, while ensuring that each one of them gets the attention and guidance that I want to give them. So it is what it is, as they say. Until the next video, hopefully you get through the cold months of December and January and February. Get that paw wax out, get your dog a jacket if they need it, And yeah, just be mindful of the weather and how long you keep your dog out there. Some dogs love it, some dogs not so good. All right, guys, we'll see you in the next video towards the end of the month when I wish you all happy holidays. And until then, hopefully you get out to do some training and have some fun with your dog.